This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wickedness. Proverbs 30, verse 20. Greed, lust, obsessive passion for possession, for position, filled with rebellion and strife. We're talking about the only but the Jezebel herself. Today, in Deepwater's Deep Heart, the platform that makes known the relevance of God's word and intelligence, we'll be looking at the spirit of Jezebel. And with me is TYDunamis, also known as TYDunamis. I will be your presenter today, Gaius.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
You're not a stranger in the platform anyway, so it's wonderful to be here, knowing that we're going to do this together today.
It's my pleasure.
All right, sir. All right, sir. So, looking at the spirit of Jezebel, what is this entity? What is this personality? Who is this personality?
Okay, fine. First of all, before we go into the Bible,
Yeah.
because in two different places in the Bible, the Jezebel appeared. It appeared in the Old Testament as a historian woman, and then in the New Testament in the book of Revelations as a leader. The Clark commentary said she happened to be the wife of a bishop. You understand? So, but first of all, I want us to take a look at biology. In biology, there's what we call in the predator family of the insects. There's what we call the Portia spider. The Portia spider is known to have deception as its chief weapon. This is how it attacks. You know, spiders are fond of creating webs around themselves. So there's a way it mimics a mosquito that has been caught in the web. So when it's mimicking the mosquito, the host spider comes to take it up. I mean, try to like eat this very Portia spider. And then that old spider becomes a meal itself. So those are the strategies that the Portia spider uses to catch its prey. Now, deception is a powerful adversary when it's being used against the unsuspected and then the unprepared. So the major thing about the Portia spider is deception, but the devil's Portia spider is the Jezebel. Now, in the Bible, realize that
Portia spider.
Yeah, or let's say devil's Portia is the Jezebel. Now, in the book of in the First Kings, we realize that Jezebel happened to be the wife of King Ahab, the daughter. She was the princess of the king of Sidon, whose name was Itbal. So you know that she has been used to the royal, family. She's been used to royalty. She has been in a position of influence.
Yeah, so
she
it
knows about
strange
authority
for her, of course, when coming to meet Ahab
exactly.
as a king. So royalty wasn't something that's far-fetched from her.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because for that spirit to find out expression or to operate, you need power and control, influence. So, and then it's just a spirit, because when searching through the name Jezebel, I realized that, literally speaking, it does not have anything to really do with wickedness and deception. You understand? Jezebel simply means, where is the prince? The prince there is Baal. So that name is actually from the Baal religion. Do you understand that? And then another meaning for Jezebel is not exalted. Not exalted.
That sounds opposite of what we've all known Jezebel to be.
You understand? So you realize that Jezebel is a system. That spirit is a system. That spirit even pre-existed First Kings. You understand? But this woman, this Jezebel woman, the historian woman in the book of First Kings, just took that very, the spirits really used her. Against
every other spirit were inside her. She portrayed the spirit that even back then in Revelation we were talking about. There was lust, there was greed, there was strife. Talking about greed, how she had to go about for Naboth's vineyards You know, and then looking at this system, you said something that she's not strange to royalty. And let's bring it down to our system. Royalty could also mean power. Yeah, she's not strange to power, she's not strange to authority. So she operates even in the church. You know, we find them even in the church. They are very close to the man of God. They're very close to the preachers. They are always there, and they are not always. They don't come out to be Jezebelic. Yeah. You know, some of them are subtle in character.
That reminds me in this Shakespeare story, The Merchant of Venice. There's a character there. There's a role there. A name too was Portia. This woman, she was a malevolent character, but she was more of an avenger of cruel injustice rather than a deceiver. But she commands authority as a lawyer, as a judge in the word of a man. You understand? So that's what, if you look at the Jezebel, I mean, in the Bible, you realize that she was the one, Ahab was just on the throne. So Jezebel that was ruling. Understand? So she commands authority as a lawyer and as a judge. Now, somebody who presents a case, you know, try to sit as a lawyer, and then she's one judging as well.
Because looking at it, viewers, you know, let's be so careful about who we take as assistants. And not just assistants, some of us are actually in the helm of affairs, but we portray certain spirits, certain controlling spirit. You know, very soon we're going to be talking about Jezebel as a perfectionist. You know, they're able to control their leaders. If they don't get things the way they want it to be done, that thing is not nice. You know, some time ago I was discussing with TYDunamis. We're discussing and talking about when somebody has achieved even 95%. Somebody with a Jezebelic spirit still questions, where is the 5%?
Oh, I think there are some dysfunctional characteristics of a Jezebel.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think it's one of their characteristics. Because the smarter they are, then the more they want to compete.
They are very smart.
You understand? Yeah. So, because it has to do with intelligence. It's a game of intelligence. Because if I have the spirit, God forbid now, I will not see anybody that is greater than me.
Yeah.
I am the greatest. And anytime I see somebody who seems greater than me,
there is a wiping away. There is a wiping away.
So you understand? So it's a terrible spirit. Yeah. But I want you to know something, that it is not everyone. In fact, you don't need to be a witch before you practice witchcraft. And there's a witchcraft side of Jezebel. But there is another side that influences the people. Like I told you, I said it's a system. You understand? It's a system. Just like we have the Antichrist system now. But the Antichrist is yet to be reviewed. So the Jezebel is a system. It's an influence. So many people unconsciously, if innocently, they allow that spirit to operate through them. You understand? So I think that's one of those things we should really look into.
So let's bring out some of these traits, because you have said many people unconsciously exhibit these traits. Now let's bring them out. What are these traits?
Okay, first of all, shamelessness. Let me first list them, so we discuss them together. Shamelessness, and the magical thinking. Then number 3, arrogance. They are arrogant. Envy, exploitation, and there's an entitlement syndrome. Again, but that shamelessness, you know, if you look at the historian woman Jezebel, you realize that she had the inability to process shame within himself. There are so many things that happened in the Bible, I mean, in our own time, that should have like restrained her. Because if you cannot process shame within yourself, there's no way you can control yourself.
That's true. And
if you cannot control yourself, then everything you do in your eyes is right. You understand that? Yeah. So there is really nothing, I mean, that they can do or somebody does to them that they can, like, oh, this is telling me to just try and
to trace back my way.
Not at all.
Retrieve, you know.
You understand? Then that now leads them to thinking magically. Now I used to tell people, because this magical thinking in the clinical sense, or let me say in the medical sense, they call it different kinds of names, psychiatric problems, though there are degrees actually. They start to tell themselves lies. and then they believe it.
So is it a case where they hide under the medical terms to operate? Because now we're looking at a case whereby, for example, we have this point where the jealousy spirit, you know, the spirit of Jezebel operates, or one of the traits in her is that she is jealous. And when we talk about she, we're not just talking about a woman. It's a system. It works for both men and it works for both women. It's a system that works. It's not too far-fetched in leadership. You get it? Now we see a case of jealousy working in the Jezebel system. You know, it's one of the systems. And then let's talk about this jealousy in a moment. We see it even from the father, their father who is called Lucifer. You do get it? I once had an encounter with a girl some time ago, and she had this spiritual husband who literally gets rid of any physical guy who comes to propose to her. So you can see that this spirit operates even in individual lives, and it takes goodness away from people. You get it? So what other traits can we also see? Because our viewers need to really now go back home and check themselves.
Okay, yeah, fine. I was trying to talk about the magical thinking the other time.
Yeah.
Because magical thinking has to do with thinking those things that are not real. And then it's more of telling yourself lies, believing them, and acting on them.
That's serious.
Okay, take for instance now, I am somebody that I can't do something because I don't have the strength to do it, or I don't have the grace, or I don't have the knowledge to be able to do it. And instead of me to just step aside for somebody that is proficient in that field to undo it, and I try to force myself. So I'm not just forcing myself, I'm trying to convince myself,
believing in yourself and convincing yourself
that I can do it. You understand? Now I'm failing in that field. I'm still convincing myself that I can do it.
That pride comes in there.
Sure. So there's a defense mechanism that I've built around myself. Now, in a clinical sense, it's called a state of delusion. You understand? When you start to believe your lies, you're no longer in a state of reality. And such a person needs help, but they don't want to know that they need help. you understand? So that's one of the characteristics when you see somebody that he or she is just struggling, you know, in a field to have something done. Then that person is not far from the influence.
Wow. There's a lot that we have to talk about this spirit of Jezebel, you know, and then we can also see that they also have this spirit of feminism as well, you know. And there's none greater than I. Superiority complex, or you know.
Feminism, they have this. It's like you are looking at it from only the female angle.
No. It cuts across. Okay, when I say feminism, it also goes to this point where there is none better than me. None is.
You understand? When the feminism is something.
Okay, we are going to come back. When we come back, let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to continue this topic. And I hope our viewers back home, you're really enjoying this. There's a lot to say down here, but just stay tuned to your television. We'll be right back now. Thank you.
Spiritual leader. Let us not forget, he was a physical leader as well. He was more like a king or a president.
When we say spiritual leader, it doesn't mean he's leading in the spirit.
I like that. He's not leading in the spiritual realm.
He's leading by the spiritual authority that have been conferred on him.
You're welcome back. Before we left, we were talking about the characteristics of the Jezebel system. And we are going to continue. My wonderful host and co-presenter is here. I call him a host. Of course he is a host. He's here and we are dealing with this together. Okay, now before we left, we were talking about the characteristics. So let's take off from there.
Okay. Now, you said something then that I would like us to look at it critically.
Yeah.
You said, I want us to put it this way, that it is easier for the Jezebel spirit to take over those who are prone to feminism. You understand? Yeah. So because we cannot just conclude like that all feminists or feminists are Jezebels.
No, they could be. Of course, they could be operating under the. You know, there could be some system, some spirit that have from Jezebel that is operating in them.
Sure, you're right. Yeah. You're right, because you know there is. I have a reservation about feminism in the sense that if you look at the history of feminism, I mean the foundation where feminism came from, you realize that though they have a good vision, but the mission
is wrong.
Is wrong.
Yeah.
So the way that you cannot. Okay, fine. We know that there are so many societies where the women are abused. You understand? That's one of the points. But you're not trying to say you want to equal yourself with man against the inspiration of the scriptures, or trying to make moves.
That is my point. This one is my point.
Control. Then
yeah. This is my
Jezebel has interfered.
Yeah, because we see it a lot. We see it a lot happening in today's world. What a woman can do, or what they say, what a man can do, a woman can do better. I wonder where that's written actually in the scriptures. You know, God made man to be the head, and woman, you know, came out of man. But in today's world, the reverse is the case. Women are contending with men in power. You get it? And of course, we see it in the case of in 1 Kings. You know, how could Ahab, who is supposed to be the king, literally receives instructions from Jezebel, because Jezebel feels she has a say in the community. You get it? So that's actually my point, that whenever people start operating on systems like this, they should check themselves. I'm not against women standing up for women who are abused. I'm not against women standing up for women's rights. But that point where you begin to fight authority, believing that you can do better.
It's terrorism.
No. Yeah, it is. No, let's keep terrorism to a point, because I know that we are going to deal that.
It is active terrorism.
I remember you usually say something soft witchcraft. I don't know what category of witchcraft this falls into.
Witchcraft, or anything that has to do with rebellion is not soft.
Okay.
It's hard. It's active witchcraft. So you understand? There's another characteristics, because I was trying to look at the characteristics so that the people, viewers at home, or wherever you are, you'll be able to identify, recognize, and look for a remedy against this terrible spirit. Another thing is arrogance. You understand? And you will see that there's no way you can separate arrogance from jealousy. They work hand in hand. Because before you can look at somebody and say this person is greater than me, or this person carries more influence than me, then you must have the spirit of arrogance. So arrogance gives birth to jealousy. And now there are some situations when you are just, it is in human nature to feel jealous. You understand? But when it now becomes consistent, and
the jealousy leads to, because the jealousy now leads to, especially in the area of power, it leads to certain hunger, you know, to want to go beyond your ability, which you actually said, you know. And talking about it, they become haters. You know, there's. I wonder where it is, where you won't be jealous of someone, and then you begin to hate. You know, you begin to hate the person. You know, and that, say, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but love, power, and sound mind. So where jealousy comes in, you find hatred coming in. And of course, Jezebel has a spirit that is deceptive. She is a deceiver. Right. You know, she's able to lure people. Imagine how in 1 Kings, how this lady has been able to put the children of Israel together. I tell you, King Ahab knows the true God. Right. But Jezebel was able to brainwash these guys to serve Baal.
And then that takes me to, King Ahab. If you look at him very well, you will discover that he's not really a bad person at all. So you'll see that there are some people who are under the influence of the Jezebel system. And once they are under the influence, once you are under a control, your own will does not matter any longer.
We see this in today's government, even in politics.
That's just it. Maybe we'll still have to get there, because you realize that even the marriage between Ahab and Jezebel was politically arranged, kind of. You know, Ahab was a royal son. the Jezebel too was a royal daughter. You understand? So, and what Solomon did was what Ahab did. Now, Solomon married strange women to get political influence, to gain political influence. The same thing to Ahab did, but it backfired.
Okay, I have a question here. Let me just read it out the way it is here. Now, it says, how can a leader know how to respect the boundaries of those under him so that they won't start to suspect that him or her have the Jezebel spirit?
Okay, fine. I would like to answer this from two perspectives. First of all, there's an acronym I give for the Jezebel spirit, and that's the MIC.
Okay.
Mike spirit.
Okay.
You understand? The first M stands for manipulation. The second I, the second letter I, stands for intimidation, and then the third stands for control.
Okay, take us through that again. Manipulation, intimidation,
Control. That's the summary of the spirit.
Okay.
You understand? And then I'm still going to link it up to that. Then when we come to boundaries, when we talk about boundaries, it is very paramount that a leader understands his boundaries. Because if you realize that there's a physical dimension of us, there's a spiritual dimension of us, and there's a third dimension that we have that is a social dimension. So all these three components make up our sense of self. Now, where my own sense of self starts and ends, define the boundaries.
Yes, this is serious lectures, eh? So let's really just pay close attention. I know, don't get lost, eh? Just be with me. Yeah, continue.
Where my own sense of self starts and ends, and where yours starts and ends, are the boundaries of lives.
Okay.
You understand? Or boundaries of life, or boundaries of lives. So, me recognizing my sense of self make me to recognize my sense of ownership. And I know that this thing belongs to you, does not belong to me.
Repeat that. You recognizing your sense of self
makes you understand have a sense of ownership. You understand? Which means that now this is with me, this is mine. It's not yours. That is yours. It's not mine. But a Jezebel person or a Jezebel leader, now this person is talking from a position of leadership now. A Jezebel leader does not understand these boundaries. You understand? Then goes out of his boundary, of our boundary, to take that which does not belong to him. And you know, when boundaries are violated, exploitation occurs.
Of course.
You understand? So there are some people that they do it, innocently, because they don't understand the sense of self.
Okay.
So what I would just say about this question is that this person should try and understand himself first, then study his followers or her followers, understand their own boundaries as well.
Now should he study? Now it's a case of studying the leader.
No, I know the question is like a leader.
Yeah.
How does a leader?
Yeah, how does a leader? Okay.
Yeah, you understand? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That so that your followers will not say, this my leader has a witchcraft spirit. You understand? Yeah. So
basically, he's trying to say that know your boundaries, know the boundary of your stewards, respect them. Did you get it? Now, it's such an interesting topic. You know, and let's also look at quickly in the next few seconds. The Jezebel spirit also gets, apart from she's a manipulator, she uses self-pity to get what she wants. You know, she uses her weak point. Oh, because you know that I am this, therefore you treat me like this. But the end result is a deceptive end to get, you know, to get a certain goal ulteriorly. It's crazy.
I'm sorry, ladies do that a lot. Ladies really do.
I didn't say that. He said that.
Ladies do that a lot, especially in a relationship.
Okay.
There's a way they put themselves in a pitiable state. So even when they are wrong, you'll be apologizing.
All right. Okay. That's how much we can take for this week, and we hope that you've actually enjoyed today's episode of the Jezebel's system. We're going to continue again this topic next week because, believe me, there's a lot to talk about concerning the Jezebel system. Join us again and follow us on Facebook, on Twitter's Deep Waters, Deep Heart. You won't miss out. A lot of our topics are there, even on YouTube. You can even go view our previous editions, and we trust that you're going to be blessed. Amen. Thank you very much and see you next week. Bye.